Through the black basket, but with a fierce start, he competed with the 5 unclaimed generals from Hongcun Construction. With the assistance of the Slam Dunk Master mobile game system, before the Miracle Generations joined the team, Yuqiu and Hongcun Xiuzao had already led Emperor Guang to win the championship. And then the advantage of being the first mover after a year's difference is fully demonstrated. In the second year of junior high school, have the Miracle Generations blossomed one after another. Yuqiu, who has been brushing for an extra year, said that Kenji Fujimoto's Green Light, Masayoshi's Imperial Consciousness, and Miyagi Yoshida's Electric Light and Fire Stone, I have bloomed more than you. In the first year of high school, the power of the Miracle Generation has further advanced, and they have even opened a big cheating zone. Yuqiu, who has been playing basketball in high school for another year in advance, said that your family's seniors are still seniors. Legendary level Maple Ryukawa's Ghostly Aura, Sho Mitsui's Burning Man, Sakuraji Flower Path's Glorious Moment, sorry, in high school, even the champions are from my time of rain and autumn. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 001 Slam Dunk Master Mobile Game System has been. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Rain and autumn people. You really have it, can you even be distracted at this time? Suzhe, who was in a vague state of butterfly dream Zhuangzhou, suddenly heard a strange and familiar voice. The voice just fell, and he felt his shoulder being shaken. Suzhe opened his eyes in a daze and saw a face that looked both nervous and irritable. It's strange, a face that he is very familiar with and also very unfamiliar with. And from this perspective this person is so tall. Black name. Zhenxi. After a moment of thought, the name that came to mind blurted out from Suzhe's mouth. After coming to his senses, Suzhe, or Yuqiu Ren, immediately realized that if he was not dreaming, it was time travel. Moreover, it is evident that from various aspects of perception and authenticity, the latter is more likely. Xiu, cheer up. This is the basketball department entrance test for the wealthy Emperor Guang. And have you seen that old man? I heard he's the coach of Emperor Guang. It's said that he never participated in the basketball department's rookie selection before, but this time he's here in person. If we perform well, maybe we can break the history of Emperor Guang's rookie becoming a regular on the first test. Yuqiu said, Wait. The wealthy Emperor Guang. Heizi's basketball. And, if it's for internal testing, Yuqiu, who was originally looking bewildered, suddenly had a large amount of information flowing into his mind. The next second, he suddenly turned his head to look around at the newcomers waiting for testing. Surprisingly not. Black name Shinji followed Xiu's gaze and asked with a strange expression, nothing. Yuqiu said, A generation without miracles. Just as he thought of this, he finally saw a familiar figure, who was much more immature than he remembered. At this moment, he was sent into the queue of newcomers by the platinum farming supervisor with an awkward expression on his face. It was built in Hongcun. No wonder the generation without miracles is one grade higher than them. If that's the case, Yuqiu carefully recalled the memories of Emperor Guang in the manga. It goes without saying that Hongcun Construction, known as the #1 power forward in junior high school. My friend next to me, who is 185 centimeters tall in the first year of junior high school, is the notorious Shinji in the manga. Before the Miracle Generation even grew up, he always led the team and was at the forefront with Hongcun. When the Miracle Generation began to occupy the main selection list in large numbers, the person who could still rank at the top remembered another one, a gloomy guy with long black hair and bangs always covering his eyes. Perhaps due to the benefits brought by time travel, with a different mindset, the memory of Yuqiu feels much clearer, and the previous generation of Emperor Guang with less attention to comic details can be matched in their minds. In the end, Yuqiu found the person not far behind him, but he still doesn't know their name. So, including himself. Before the miracle generation, these were the core players of Emperor Guang's first grade. Yuqiu said, Wait. Why count yourself? Did you accept it too quickly? Is it because it carries the inertia of the original owner's memory, or what? Just as Yuqiu was speechless, a necessary system prompt for travelers suddenly sounded, causing a hint of joy to appear on his face, and then he froze in place. Player Glory Road Login, Slam Dunk Master Mobile Game System has been loaded, newcomer benefits, 1/2, loading. Obtain regular information for player Wu Daiyu, player attributes have been updated. Name. Yuqiu Ren, position. Percentile, school. Diguang Middle School, National First Class, height. 176, attack attribute, close range. 80, CIC. 105, 3 points. 105, dunk. 52, layup. 60, general properties transmission. 95, power. 50, immunity. 70, bounce. 62, running. 85, dribbling. 75, defensive attribute, backboard. 60, cap 60, interference. 80, snatching. 85, unlocked dunk player. Regular profile player Wu Daiyu, skills. Moonlight retreat, standing soft 3-pointers, breaking soft shooting, full speed acceleration, blocking and intercepting, big move. Freeze time, Yuqiu said, Slam dunk mobile game. To be honest, Yuqiu has never played before. This kind of game always gives him a feeling of selling value for money, so he has always been quite resistant. And Slum Dunk, is it really effective to obtain the realm of science fiction basketball, black basketball? The most crucial thing is, who is the Wu Daiyu given by the beginner welfare? With a nervous heart, Yuqiu clicked on the relatively rudimentary system at this time, and in the Unlocked Skills section of the Personal Attribute panel, he clicked on the skill demonstration of Wu Daiyu. And then Yuqiu admitted that he was speaking too loudly just now. Slam Dunk Master and Slam Dunk Master mobile game cannot be generalized. To be precise, after putting on the mobile game shell, these slam dunk players have also become science fiction. For example, the player that Yuqiu, a rookie welfare player, received, is the shooting guard Wu Daiyu from Chujin Jubu High School in Dunk Dunk World. A move called Moonlight Retreat Step, good guy, a feigned breakthrough with a cross step followed by a retreat step, instantly able to retreat from the free throw line to the fast 3-point line. The key speed is still fast, and the retreat instantly feels like a sprint. Not to mention that this mobile game also comes with a big move mode. Great move. Freeze moment. A fast-forward breakthrough that instantly freezes and then retreats significantly, surely knocking down opponents within range that can be knocked down directly. Chapter 002. Hair is naturally colored, in this. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That. Are all the people here going to join the basketball department? Just as Yuqiu was reviewing the skill demonstration, he heard the bangs behind him covering his eyes. The guy he had just been paying attention to suddenly spoke in a gloomy voice. A few newcomers on the side were startled. Wow. I'm scared to death. Yeah. Don't you know? If I had started playing basketball before, that's common sense. The basketball department of this school is a famous and strong school, and this level should be expected. By the way, I'm Matsumoto Yoko, who are you? Deep Valley Zero. Yuqiu glanced back and it was obvious that after hearing these words, Brother Lu Hai, Deep Valley Zero, seemed to have become even more gloomy. Compared to the other energetic people next to him, his already weak momentum also weakened a bit. With a sharp gaze that exuded a hint of Hongcuan's charm, the notorious Shinji glanced over and immediately pursed his lips, saying, "Why is this guy so unconfident about coming to Emperor Guang? Don't underestimate him, Shinji." Yuqiu turned his head to look at the notorious Shinji, pointed to Deep Valley 0, and then pointed to the location where Hongcun was repairing. This Lu Hai guy is not weak. However, the strongest newcomer on the field should be that guy. After all, in terms of character design, this person was personally invited to join the team by the platinum farming supervisor, and the level of importance that platinum farming attached to the other party can also be seen from their attitude just now. After listening to Yuqiu's words, the notorious Shinji didn't think much about how the other party judged their strength. Instead, he unexpectedly looked at Hongcun Xiuzao and said, "Ah, it's that bad guy. Yuqiu Ren. Do you know him?" "TSK, I also stumbled upon it by chance." "Anyway. Who's a serious junior high school student who would drive a motorcycle around?" Yuqiu said, "Is that what's going on? Hongcun Construction has done the worst thing before, such as riding a stolen motorcycle for a ride. In the manga, Captain D. Guang, who is calm, reliable, and has excellent leadership and personality charm, is so wild from before." Amidst the chatter of the newcomers, in front of the new lineup in the stadium, first team coach Naoto Makita clapped his hands and said, "All right, everyone, pay attention. Before starting the entrance test, there is a premise that needs to be heard clearly. That is the purpose of our D. Guang basketball department, everything is based on victory. The competition is like this. The same goes for training. The training intensity of Emperor Guang is undoubtedly far higher than that of ordinary schools. You need to think carefully about this before deciding whether to join the Emperor Guang basketball department. If we just have a playful attitude and treat the D. Guang basketball department as a regular extracurricular activity, then I advise students with this mindset to leave now." Naoto Makita's gaze swept over a group of young people with different expressions, until a moment later, when he confirmed that no one was leaving the field, he continued, before introducing himself, "We need to grade all the people present as follows. Physical ability test and technical test. Based on the test results, we can determine which one you should enter from the First Army to the Third Army. Players who can carry the Emperor Guang jersey to participate in official matches can only enter the first team, but this is still too far for you. Based on the performance of newcomers in the past, only a small number of you can directly join the Second Army, and more people will stay in the Third Army. After this test, it will also be held regularly. Those who have entered the Second and Third Armies hope not to give up training and continue to work harder. Basketball strength is not achieved overnight. Let's first aim for the Third and Second Armies." Above. Naoto Makita's words fell, and a murmur echoed in the queue of newcomers. "I also heard that so far, no one has been able to directly advance to the first place in the first grade entrance exam of Emperor Guang. So, can we only go to the Second Army at most? My words, maybe even the 3 armies. I don't know what form of testing it will be, but the goal is the Second Army anyway. Everyone, come on." Impatiently repairing Hongcun. The fierce but difficult to conceal the tense dark name of Shinji. Curled up with shoulders, Deep Valley 0 looked less confident. Yuqiu's eyes flashed through a group of young people one by one, while quietly listening to the discussions of those around him. The expression on his face gradually became firm and excited. Because at this point in time it's really amazing. Since we have entered a world dominated by science fiction basketball, we certainly need to develop it well. And the few monsters in the miracle generation will not join the team until next year, and the 5th generation without a crown is still in first grade. This year is an excellent opportunity for him to use the system to boost his strength. When the miracles join the team, he will show those little ghosts what it means to welcome to the Emperor's light. That's great. Everyone's hair has no color. When Yuqiu thought of the generation without miracles, he couldn't help sighing, while Heinemeiji scratched his beige short hair and roast. "Kian, I found that. Your focus today is so strange, and didn't you see that I changed my hair color? No, you're different, I'm talking about the innate kind. Hair is naturally colored, and in this world it's the one who hangs. Of course, except for those who carry a tag. The construction of Hongcun, which directly carries the word rainbow in its name, is probably also excluded. After all, the miracle generation together is the rainbow team. Rainbow Village builds a person with a rainbow in their name. If it weren't for the plot where my father fell ill and gave up his position as captain, and then left for the United States after graduation, I don't even know what level of strength Hongcun Construction would have. Chapter 003. Hongcun builds. What are you watching? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The logistics team of Emperor Guang is preparing the testing site, and Yuqiu, who has acquired new attributes and skills through the acquisition of a dunk mobile player, is excited and eager to try it out. On the side, the notorious Shinji noticed this, and compared to his slightly tense self, his friend's sense of relaxation today surprised him a bit. This guy, I am particularly confident today. He secretly glanced at him for a moment before suddenly saying, Autumn people, should we compare ourselves? Who can enter the first army? Yuqiu raised his eyebrows when he heard the words. Okay, I am extremely happy. Although I don't know how strong I am compared to Emperor Guang's army. But what can be certain is that compared to the previous rain and autumn people, I am definitely a completely different person. I'll show you my current strength later. Do I not know what your strength is, Qiu Ren? Don't underestimate the explosive power of adolescence, Jinsi, what you said. It seems like this. Black name Shinji thought of himself, his current height of 185, standing out among a group of young people. In just one short vacation, he quickly grew taller. The outbreak of adolescence is indeed like this, sudden. To be honest, black name Shinji himself is not yet ready to play as a center forward. However, in contrast, his current strength is completely different from before. Thinking of this, the dark name Shinji quietly dispelled the last bit of tension, while adrenaline surged. He raised his hand and extended his fist to Yuqiu. Rain and autumn make people understand. Pa punching. The two of them looked at each other with a knowing smile on their lips. Behind the two of them, Deep Valley Zero quietly raised his head, and a hint of envy appeared in the eyes hidden under the bangs. Not long after, under the leadership of 1st Army coach Naoto Makita, a group of newcomers were divided into several small teams and went to different areas for physical fitness tests. From static to dynamic talents, the variety of testing projects has once again made everyone realize that this is not a traditional club activity, but rather a professional team. Afterwards. After everyone's physical tests are completed. As a group of Emperor Guang players with obvious training marks entered the field, everyone immediately reacted, and the real test came next. As expected. As newcomers looked at each other, the 1st Army coach Naoto Makita announced the next test. The so-called technical test is a 1v1 match against the second team members, which tests the ball's skills beyond physical abilities. A group of first-year junior high school students, compared to using formal competitions for testing, can clearly see their abilities more intuitively in a 1v1 showdown. Is it really fake? These people are the predecessors of Emperor Guang's Second Army. Is it 1v1 with them? You don't necessarily have to win, do you? It should just be a test to showcase your skills. It's just a Second Army, what's there to be afraid of? Among the crowd, some were excited, while others had ugly faces. The Diguang basketball department has a great reputation. Although it has not won the championship in the past 2 years, it has never fallen out of the top 3 in the country. In regular exchange matches, the tradition of Emperor Guang is to have 1 or 2 members of the 1st Army lead the 2nd Army, and sometimes even directly send the entire 2nd Army lineup to compete. Nevertheless, Emperor Guang still wins more than loses. The strength of the 2nd Army is evident. Now, the team members who have been named, please go to the designated half for testing. As Naoto Manada's words fell, the 1v1 test of the Emperor's basketball team officially began. And the first one to be named, Hongcun Construction. Field 1. A pair of red phoenix eyes, with a fierce expression between his eyebrows and eyes as he looked at the platinum farming supervisor with a cold face. Yuqiu couldn't imagine that when he first appeared as the team leader in second grade, the other party was steady, approachable, and even concerned about the younger generation. Thinking of this, Yuqiu couldn't help but look at the supervision of platinum farming. Thinking to myself, what kind of renovation technique did this old man perform on Hongcun in first grade? Humph. Damn the old man. I don't know what kind of leverage the platinum supervisor had on Hongcun Construction. As I walked towards Field 1, I muttered to myself. As Yuqiu passed by, he saw the other person staring at me all the time. Hongcun Construction's half-closed eyes suddenly swept over me. Yuqiu clearly read the 3 words, "What are you looking at?" from the other person's eyes. The filter is broken, this guy is now as flattened as Ashikaga. It was obvious that he was not the only one who felt the same way as Yuqiu. After seeing the eyes of Hongcun Xiuzao, the notorious Shinji frowned slightly. The visual perception is too strong. That gaze is even crazier than myself. Annoying guy. On the other hand, Naoto Makita continued to call the roll, and soon it was Shiyuki's turn, ranking third in order. The testing venue was in Field 3. Because 1v1 only requires half the field. So in terms of venue arrangement, the entire venue is divided into 2 halves. The number 1 venue where Hongcun Construction is located is a half venue, and the other half of the venue is the number 2 venue. And the third field where Yuqiu is located is adjacent to the half field built by Hongcun. With just a turn of the head, you can see each other. So. As long as I take down this second army, right? Stinky old man. Hongcun Xiuzao turned his head and looked at Platinum Gengzhao, who had not only arrived at the sidelines at some time, completely ignoring his opponent. He arrogantly spoke up. Platinum Farmer smiled slightly and then shook his head. In that case, we can only join the second army. If it were you. Don't you give it a try. Hongcun Xiuzao stepped on the ball beside his foot, tiptoed a little, and the ball came lightly to his hand. What's the point with the first and second armies? Anyway, I've already come as agreed. I'm very busy. Old man. Chapter 004. What techniques? Quan Tmo is violent. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The opponent of Hongcun's construction was completely angered by Hongcun's disregard for his attitude. Although he knew that the person in front of him was a newcomer favored by the platinum supervisor, in the end, he was just a newcomer. He is a member of the Second Army who has undergone rigorous training throughout the year in Emperor Guang. I will never lose to such a first-grade kid. Kid. Don't think about 1 army and 2 armies for now. That kind of daydream, let's wait until I send you to the 3rd army before doing it. To be honest, basketball is a very talented sport, especially in the early stages, where this gap is particularly evident, and it is precisely during this period in junior high school. The 1v1 test is mostly initiated by newcomers. Hongcun Xiuzao held the ball and made a 3-threat pose with his hands naturally hanging down. The opposing second-team player wanted to come forward and press the defense, but Hongcun Xiuzao reacted extremely quickly with a fake shot, using a continuous probing step to push the opponent back. The timing was just right, and the skills were also visible to the naked eye. Even a bit too experienced. Yuqiu said. Regarding the strength of Hongcun's construction. In the original manga, there was not much visual representation. Especially considering the influence of external factors on Hongcun, its strength has always been a mystery. Most of them are side descriptions like text, such as the number 1 power forward in junior high school, outstanding skills, broad vision and passing ability, and so on. However, from these three threats alone, we can already see some shadows in the comic descriptions. These three threats are both oily and rogue. Shu. In the view of Yuqiu, Hongcun Construction suddenly launched an attack after forcing the opponent back. The first step of acceleration was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, I had already arrived at the side of the second runner from the opposite side. Looking from Yuqiu's side, I was facing the majestic expression of the second runner. However, as the second army of Emperor Guang, this player's defense is not so fragile as to be passed by one step. Suddenly, he exerted force under his feet to keep up and leaned against the side of the building in Hongcun. And then everyone only heard a muffled noise. When Yuqiu thought that Hongcun Construction would continue to use their skills to break through the opponent's defense, this guy unexpectedly came up with a tough confrontation. That member of the second army was clearly one circle stronger than Hongcun, but he stumbled backwards. Obviously, in terms of strength, there is a difference in level between the two people. And next, unlike the arrogance displayed by Hongcun outside the field, on the field, although his style is still wild and tough, it is a combination of strength and skills. In this way, the appearance of Hongcun Construction in terms of power seems to have been magnified more than twice. Bang! Crotch, turn your back. By the way. Hip rotation breakthrough. Bang! Cross step over. Breakthrough moment, wipe your shoulders and lean back. Bang! The scene was very strange. Although Hongcun displayed amazing skills on the field, in everyone's eyes, especially as they watched the second army member defending Hongcun's construction, he stumbled and retreated. In this moment. What technique? Quan Tmo is violent. The person standing next to Yuqiu was also stunned. Terror, that second runner looks quite sturdy, but he was beaten up like paper. For now, let's not worry about attacking. If we were to defend ourselves, it would probably be a similar scene. After all, the dunk system received a player named Wu Daiyu, who is good at shooting and controlling movements, but only has a strength attribute of 50 points. Strength is one's own weakness, but in terms of defense, he steals a whopping 85. Before obtaining other dunk players to supplement his strength attributes, he can probably only compete with Hongcun in terms of steals in defense. On the field. Hongcun, almost the same height as Yuqiu people, was built and came to the basket in a twinkling of an eye. Shu. Take off and attack the basket. First grade junior high school, around 175 tall, barely able to buckle. It's outrageous. The second army member, who was completely left behind by him, widened his eyes in disbelief. He never expected that the good job of educating new students at the beginning of the school year would evolve into such an embarrassing situation. In front of so many people, there is no more embarrassing scene than being educated by a newly enrolled freshman. Off the field. Those newcomers who were already very nervous became even more nervous after seeing this behind the scenes. I am afraid that my friend will suffer, and I am also afraid that my friend will lead the way. This sentence is basically the mood of the freshman at this moment. However, just as everyone was comforting each other, saying, "This is just an exception," that guy was brought by the supervisor himself, and the person the supervisor is interested in must be a monster. The testing of the next monster has begun. That's right. It's the rain and autumn people on Field 3. The Glory Road mission has been loaded in the 1v1 test of Emperor Guang's entry team. Successfully defeating a second army player can receive subsequent newbie benefits, 2-2, and randomly obtain a slam dunk master mobile game. Regular profile player Yuqiu's eyes lit up and he let out a deep breath. This 1v1 showdown will determine whether he can receive the subsequent beginner benefits. The difficulty of obtaining a dunk player is currently unknown. Like beginner benefits, the difficulty of giving players a free start and only needing to win a 1v1 game to give away is estimated to be eliminated if missed. In order to have a perfect start, he must demonstrate all his strength to ensure victory. Chapter 005. Standing Soft 3 Points, and Looking. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the 2nd grade, I was in the 2nd Army, and I knew the land was vast. In 1st grade, it's rainy in autumn. Iji Dihao breathed a slight sigh of relief when he saw that Yuqiu's attitude was quite good, afraid of encountering the difficult younger generation who had just been repaired in Hongcun. The logistics team on the sidelines threw the ball to Yuqiu. On the opposite side, Dihao bent his legs slightly and put on a defensive posture. Do with the whistle. The 1v1 test of Yuqiu Ren has begun. The opening posture is similar to that of Yuqiu and Hongcun, both starting with 3 threats, while carefully monitoring the opponent's defensive state to take corresponding actions in a timely manner. When observing the opponent's defense and the distance between him and himself was about 1.5 steps, Yuqiu couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Normally, first-year junior high school players are in the stage of learning various technical skills. They may not develop too much in long-range 3-point shooting, but this only applies to ordinary players. At this moment, Wu Daiyu and Yuqiu, who have reached the pinnacle of technology, are clearly not among them. This kind of defense is not very effective. Whoosh. Skills from Wu Daiyu. Stand still and soften by 3 points. Standing soft 3-point. Stand outside the 3-point line and prepare for shooting. At the moment of receiving or holding the ball, directly throw a soft and fast shot. Don't underestimate people. 2nd Army. Senior. Originally focused on defensive breakthroughs and ignoring the voices of Yuqiu people, Iji Dihao suddenly shook his whole body when he saw the opponent starting action, and then rushed forward to defend. However, Yuqiu's standing and gentle 3-pointers are basically no different from bouncing shots, with a very fast shooting speed and an exceptionally soft feel while maintaining speed. At the beginning, with a half-body position, by the time Iji Dihao exerted all his strength to pounce, Yuqiu had already thrown the ball and had no time to block it. Wu Daiyu, who excels in projection, has achieved a 3-way projection of up to 105 in the attributes of Yuqiu people, although it is currently unknown what level it corresponds to. But compared to the pitiful 50 of one's own strength, it is certain that this 105 is a very high level. Therefore, Yuqiu has enough confidence to hit a 3-point shot in this almost undisturbed situation, and the fact is as expected. 3-pointers hit the net. Seeing this, Yuqiu's pupils shrank slightly. Because of the shooting sensation just now, it was really amazing. He instinctively looked at his hands and couldn't help but smile. Starting over with a new gear would be very enjoyable, maybe. Off the field. Yuqiu's friend, Shinji Kuroda, widened his eyes due to Yuqiu's shot just now. As a long-time player, he was the first to see Yuqiu's shot like this. Qiu Ren, this guy. When did you secretly practice a new shooting? And so fast, so accurate. On the field. Yuqiu's opponent, Dihao, nodded solemnly and lowered his gaze, muttering to himself, such a decisive 3-point long-range shot. I see, just like the construction in Hongcun just now. This year's new students are extraordinary. In that case, we can't treat him as a freshman in 1st grade anymore. To fight as an opponent of the 1st Army. After Yuqiu scored, both sides changed their attacking and defending positions. Iji Dihao held the ball and closely watched the movement of Yuqiu's defensive footsteps. First, he took a step under the 3-threat situation, and surprisingly, compared to the recent attack, Yuqiu's defense seemed to have many loopholes. Immediately sink down from the waist, step forward with your left foot, and take the ball forward to break through. This time's attack, he didn't underestimate Yuqiu at all and used all his strength to attack. But when Izumi Hiroshi broke through the ball and broke through to Yuki's side, suddenly he felt his hands empty. After realizing what had happened, Izumi Hiroshi suddenly turned around. Sure enough, he saw Yuqiu, who had broken the ball at an unknown time. Damn it! When did the ball break? At this moment, outside the field, a group of coaches and players holding rating sheets were observing and making detailed records, while whispering to each other. This newcomer is very impressive, with excellent shooting and stealing abilities. He will make achievements in both offense and defense, perhaps a type that can immediately form immediate combat power. What about the body side data? The speed is very fast. However, in terms of strength and bounce, it's average. Observing a few more rounds carefully, Yuqiu's performance in terms of football skills is not as thorough as the one just built by Hongcun. The offensive turn of Yuqiu people. He doesn't need to think too much about offensive tactics. In order to successfully obtain the task reward, there is no need to hide the skills that can be used. Just greet them all and it's done. The pursuit is a stable victory. As for developing gameplay and integrating skills, that's not what he should do now. Immediately Yuqiu did not pose any more threats to this ball. Faced with Ishikawa's defense against his 3-point shot, he dropped the ball directly and demonstrated excellent ball control skills on the field. Iji Dihao's defensive distance is closer than before, even though Yuqiu gave up 3 threats outside the 3-point line to control the ball, he did not relax his control of defensive distance in the slightest. Just at this moment, Yuqiu suddenly broke through with speed while controlling the ball. Iji Dihao promptly reacted and got close. However, the next second in a set of feints of crossing steps, Yuqiu followed suit and used the signature technique of Wu Daiyu and He. Watching the moon retreat step. Pop. Pop. With 2 sudden and rapid dribbling sounds. The figure of Yuqiu, who had already entered the 3-point line, seemed to be suddenly pressed to accelerate. In the blink of an eye, it had already withdrawn from the 3-point line again. And in the eyes of Iji Dihao, he had just caught up with the opponent's cross-step breakthrough. The next moment, the figure suddenly flew back from afar at lightning speed. It's like sliding on ice. In the field of vision, that figure has already raised the ball and shot. Quiet down now. What remains only a crisp sound, basketball brushing the net. Chapter 006. Great move. Freeze moment, opponent shakes. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Hey. Off the court. Many newcomers widened their eyes in shock, especially Shinji Kuroda and Zero Deep Valley. Black name Shinji was shocked by his friend's rapid improvement in strength after a holiday. And Lu Hai's little brother, Deep Valley Zero, is even more aware of how difficult it is to complete such a degree of retreat step during the already skillful cross-step breakthrough. The retreat speed does not decrease, but instead suddenly increases. There is still a distance to retreat as a player who is also good at shooting. At that moment, I saw him shaking all over. This person is just as strong as the construction in Hongcun just now. They're actually in first grade too. Hello. Speaking of which, you wouldn't have the same strength as them, would you? How could it be? This kind of person is definitely just a minority. An exception. The only 2 exceptions, right? Amidst a silent discussion, the Platinum supervisor, who was originally observing the construction of Hongcun in Yard 1, slowly walked to the middle of Yard 1 and Yard 3. It's very obvious. During these 2 offensive and defensive rounds, Yuqiu was elevated in his heart. At the same time, in the atmosphere of being suppressed by the rain and autumn people, the rapid sound of the ball from Field 1 was clearly highlighted. Yuqiu instinctively turned his head and looked around. In Field 1, it is currently the attacking turn of the second team players. Judging from his attacking moves, his dribbling skills are very skilled. In terms of strength, he is definitely worthy of being a second team member. After several consecutive center of gravity adjustments to control the ball, he suddenly turned around and crossed the impatient face of Hongcun Jianzhu. However, the explosive speed at Hongcun's feet made it easy for him to keep up with the opponent, judging from his calm expression and effortless pursuit posture. It is obvious that there is a problem with the construction of Hongcun, which has just been so easily passed. And the fact is indeed so. Rainbow Village, with half-closed eyes, builds and follows to the basket. In Yuqiu's field of vision, this guy looked completely uninterested, and even when he saw the opponent's attack on the basket, Hongcun Xiuzao clearly showed a speechless and even contemptuous expression. And on the other side. After entering the penalty area, the second team member faced the unguarded basket in front of him and couldn't help but show joy, accelerating to jump high into the basket. I was kidnapped by a newcomer before, he has to pay back one. He diligently trained his physical abilities for a year. Let you see what dunking is. Bang! Jumping with the left foot, stomping heavily on the court, one arm pulled open, and a little wedge was ready. But he just jumped up next second. It was pushed back again. From a black shadow suddenly flying from behind him. When the hand reached out from behind and pressed against the ball in his hand, the second team member felt as if he had been choked by fate's throat. The whole person froze in mid-air, unable to move. Then, dribbling with both players crash. Shoo! The basketball was fanned out from a distance by Hongcun, and coincidentally, it landed in the hands of Yuqiu, who was watching a play in field 3. This left Yuqiu slightly stunned. The fan is so far away. Is this the strength that freshmen can have? Anyway, science fiction has gone too far, and not only in terms of strength, but also in terms of speed and height. The just defense was equally terrifying. If the actual appearance of Hongcun Construction in National Day 1 is at this level, what would it feel like to face the miracle generation next year? However, the people of Yuqiu here were shocked by the construction ability of Hongcun. In 1 minute, Hongcun Construction also widened their eyes and looked at Yuqiu people in Field 3. Field 3. Izidiho of the Second Army barely managed to get rid of Yuqiu's steals in the initial attack, but in the subsequent attacks, he missed the shot due to Yuqiu's interference of up to 80. Izidiho walked silently to the top of the 3-point arc to prepare for the next defense. This time, he was one step closer to Yuqiu. After determining that the opponent was good at shooting, he poured more defensive attention into blocking shots in order to block Rain Autumn's score when he died. We must guard against him. Otherwise, although this is an entrance test for newcomers, if one performs poorly, then this 1v1 competition may turn into an assessment of oneself. At this point, Yuqiu, who was holding the ball at the top of the 3-point arc, was a bit stunned. Because of his ultimate move, I don't know when he will accumulate enough energy. Great move. Freeze moment. A fast-forward breakthrough that instantly freezes and then retreats significantly, surely knocking down opponents within range that can be knocked down directly. Next second. Yuqiu faced Izidiho without hesitation and used the freeze time. Izidiho's defense is very strict, but in front of Yuqiu, who opened it wide, at this moment, one can clearly feel that the opponent's defense is fragile, like a candle that cannot be extinguished with just one blow. Off-site. Including scoring another goal and watching Hongcun repair during the rotation process. Everyone only saw that Yuqiu, with lightning speed and a set of extremely skilled superhuman movements, broke through to the side of Izidiho. And then the next second. Yuqiu's movements seemed to have been paused, and during high-speed dribbling, the movements suddenly froze. Shoo! Amidst the sound of breaking the wind. After the momentary end of the freeze frame action, Yuqiu's figure gradually faded away, while Izidiho's vision gradually decreased until it was parallel to Yuqiu's knee. Izidiho. Not good. Bang. Sitting firmly on your butt. Amidst the stunned gazes of everyone, Izuho shake down. Chapter 007. Obtaining General Information Player, Kiyoda. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Is Xiuzau's move too strong? The senior of the Second Army is completely unable to defend now. Surprisingly, it just shook and collapsed. On the sidelines, the new people who were anxiously waiting for the test were discussing it one after another. On the field, Izuho, who was knocked to the ground by Yuqiu, looked bewildered. And on the other side, Hongcun Xiuzao suppressed the impatience on his face and looked at Yuqiu, who made a shooting move and threw a three-pointer again, with a hint of solemnity in his eyes. Shoo! A soft and swift three-point shot swept across the half-court. The players of the Second Army were all staring intently at the ball that had beautifully curved in the air, secretly hoping not to throw it in. However, unfortunately, this ball, without any unexpected hits. In the rookie team, Deep Valley Zero, at the moment he saw the trajectory, he had already determined that the ball would definitely go in. Before the ball went in, he spoke up, "I did it again, what a beautiful shot." Not far in front of him, the notorious Shinji couldn't help but turn his head to look at him when he saw the ball hit as he had said, while the latter quietly turned his head away due to the opponent's gaze. Black name Shinji. This guy, since you have the strength, then be more confident. Strange person. After the attack round of Yuqiu's team ended in Field 3, everyone turned their attention to Field 1 very tacitly. At this point, the opponent of Hongcun Construction had the same expression on his face as Izuho just now. Even there have been instances of it. Izuho, who had been stuttered, was bewildered. The second runner in Field 1's expression was already dull at this moment. Why, I clearly can break through his defense, but why is it blocked every time I blink of an eye? How could his speed and reaction be so fast? Did he intentionally break through by himself, put himself in the penalty area and block it? Did his passing actions not delay him at all? This guy, are you playing with me? The opponent of Hongcun's Construction fell into deep self-doubt, and their eyes were already wavering. See here. Hongcun Construction couldn't help but sneer. It's really. That's easy to understand, idiot. The gap between attack and defense in the penalty area visible to the naked eye from the first goal, take advantage of this, let go of such a simple trap, and dive in with your head down the self-esteem of predecessors. Ha! Arrogant waste. The content of the upcoming game in Field 1 gradually became ugly as Hongcun's opponent's Dao Xin shattered. After a moment, when Hongcun Construction dunked and scored again, the new players entered the team for testing that day, and the first defeated Second Army member was freshly revealed. 1v1 on a 21-point scale. The score on the field at this moment is terrifying at 22.0. Hongcun Construction released the basket and dropped it, causing the basketball to bounce off the ground. Hongcun casually threw the back of his hand towards the outside of the field, while speaking to the platinum farming supervisor. Boredom. Is that enough? As agreed, I joined your basketball department. Outside the field, everyone looked at the figure of Hongcun. His fierce attack and defense posture on the field just now is still hard to erase from everyone's minds. The members of the Second Army who had a difficult start had particularly complex emotions. There is no fighting power at all. This person is different. According to the senior of the First Army, the Platinum Supervisor did not attend the training this summer. The main task was to persuade this person and bring him to Emperor Guang. This kind of strength, no wonder. Give it your all, otherwise, if you're demoted to the Third Army due to a rookie entrance test, it's really going to be a big joke. Shouldn't it be? Hongcun's construction of this kind is just special. The last member of the Second Army who spoke suddenly stopped speaking when their gaze swept over the rain and autumn people in the third field. Yes, I just played as a newcomer in the first round. Two monsters, Hongcun Xiuzao and Yuqiu, have already appeared. Who knows if there will be any more demons and monsters among the newcomers in the future. You must be more cautious. At this point, make this second army member speechless on field 3. The score on the field is 21.0. Iji Dihao, who was also hit with a shattered mentality, did not pose any threat to Yuqiu people in the future. In terms of defense, compared to the construction of Hongcun, Yuqiu's strength is naturally a major weakness, but his 85 steals and 80 interference are enough to allow him to complete 0 goals against players of this level in the second army. Although the defensive situation is not as explosive as the construction of Hongcun. But on the offensive end, Yuqiu's super firepower with 7 3-dot pointers. And the control technique of occasionally shaking or collapsing opponents, in terms of explosive level, can be comparable to the violent competition content played by Hongcun Construction. So, following closely with Field 1. The second defeated member of the second army appeared. And at the last moment when it was freshly baked, it was shaken to the ground by another frozen moment when Yuqiu's energy was fully stored. The current Honor Road mission has been completed in the 1v1 test of Emperor Guang's entry team. Successfully defeating a second army player can receive subsequent newbie benefits, 2 halves, and randomly obtain a Slam Dunk Master mobile game, regular profile player, newcomer benefits, February 2nd, loading. Obtain regular information for player Oda Nobunaga, player attributes have been updated. Chapter 008. Such a magnificent raw stone, instantly. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Name. Yuqiu, position. Percentile, small front, school. Diguang Middle School, National First Class, height. 176, attack attribute, close range. 80, CIC. 105, 3 points. 105, dunk. 5299, layup. 6096, general properties, transmission. 95, power. 5078, immunity. 7078, bounce. 62-100, running. 85-87, dribbling. 75-77, defensive attribute, backboard. 60-88, cap. 60-86, interference. 80, snatching. 85, unlocked dunk players. Regular profile player Yoshihiro Wu, regular profile player Nobunaga Kiyoda, skills of Wu Daiyu and He. Moonlight retreat, standing soft 3-pointers, breaking soft shooting, full acceleration, blocking and intercepting, big move. Freeze time, skill of Saida Nobunaga. Flying man block, quick pull back, sequential layup, full speed, buckle, monkey jump step, great move. Reverse back buckle, after obtaining the new dunk player, Yuqiu's attributes were updated again, and he also understood the system's attribute rules from this update. Simply put, after obtaining multiple slam dunk game players, each individual attribute is the highest value obtained by comparing it to a dunk game player. Thanks to this rule. Of course, there is also a certain amount of luck. The 2 players offered by Newcomer Welfare, Wu Daiyu and Qingtian Nobunaga, have perfectly complementary attributes, and their strengths are rarely duplicated. Suddenly, Yuqiu's attributes brought him into a rather versatile field. While Yuqiu was stunned by the system, Hongcun Construction on the other side had already walked off the court with a cold expression on his face. Listening to the newcomers on the sidelines discussing him and another guy. Hongcun Construction is quite uncomfortable in this kind of attention. At the same time, because comparing him with the other guy made him even more unhappy. Although he lacks interest in joining the Emperor Guang basketball department, it is not because of basketball, but more because of the old man Platinum cultivated. On basketball. To be honest, it's not just peers. Even if it's that so-called army, he doesn't think he will lose. So strong, both of these people are too strong. The seniors of the Second Army were completely banned by the two of them. So, isn't their strength enough to join the First Army? That's right. However, the First Army's school entrance examination is not so simple to judge based on 1v1, is it? Both of them have an extreme style of playing. One is a violent blocking defensive style, while the offensive style is all about attacking the basket. The other is good at steals and interference, and the offensive style is all about three-pointers. I don't know who is stronger between the two of them. For this point, not only the newcomers and members of the Second Army on site are curious. Guang's assistant coaches responsible for observing records are the same, but the decision still depends on the Platinum supervisor. I feel like the players from the Second Army haven't shown their full strength yet. Should we call the players from the First Army over? Platinum supervisor. Platinum Gengzhao shook his head and said, at the level of a First Army, it's completely meaningless to only fight 1v1. And isn't this just right? Platinum farming refers to the construction of Hongcun, and also to the rainy autumn people. It was not easy to discover such a magnificent raw stone, but unexpectedly, there would be unexpected joy. In this case, two appeared at once. After a moment. The new employee onboarding test is still ongoing. And the First Army coach Naoto Makita suddenly arrived in front of Shiyuki. In the impression of Yuqiu, the middle-aged man with glasses only had the impression that he was completely sidelined by Chishi Zhengshilang when he took over as the supervisor after Platinum supervisor fell ill. Since then, the miraculous generation has seen a sharp decline in their views on basketball. But in reality, from just now on, there is no doubt that this uncle is a cold-faced tough guy. In the face of the second personality Akashi Masatoro and the miraculous generation with wild talents, he clearly did not persevere to the end under the uncontrollable pressure. From the moment he opened the door for the first blooming Qingfeng not to be trained, this guy had no talent for supervision at all. But there's no other way. Who let this guy have no color in his name? In Emperor Guang, being a coach also requires color, even if it's just a name. Thinking of this, Yuqiu shook his head slightly. Naoto Makita. At this time, it's raining and autumn people. What does that regretful look just now mean? Did you make a mistake? Naoto Makita didn't get too conflicted because he still had more important things to say now. Shiyuki, you need to play an extra game later. The next main examination will be your eligibility to join the First Army. Give it your all. Yuqiu raised his eyebrows because he had already seen that not far from the other side, the Platinum supervisor was also talking to Hongcun Construction. The latter. His expression was initially impatient. Then his expression softened for a moment and he looked towards him. That moment. Although Hongcun Xiuzao's expression did not change much, Yuqiu clearly felt the chill in his eyes, as if he had chosen someone. Chapter 009. Disguising oneself as a moon-gazing retreat. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Soon. Yuqiu and Hongcun went to the stadium at the construction station. In the eyes of Yuqiu, the construction of Hongcun in front of him, although he looked at himself with a ferocity like that of a wild beast hunting, there was generally no excitement in his eyes, only the confidence he had become accustomed to winning. Hongcun Construction. At this point, Hongcun Construction suddenly made a sound. After being stunned for a moment, Yuqiu realized that the other party was introducing themselves and blurted out. When it rains, autumn brings people. Off-site. A smile appeared at the corner of Platinum Farmer's mouth. He clearly remembers that when he first faced off with the Second Army, Hongcun, this little ghost, did not have such a etiquette self-introduction section. On the other side, newcomers and members of the Second Army. Quietly approaching the direction of the construction site of Yuqiu and Hongcun, whispers could be heard in the crowd. It's really coming, the duel between these two new monsters. What to say and what to do. Inexplicably feeling a little nervous. Yeah, I was just watching from the side, but you just saw what kind of monster-level strength they have. In order to prevent the confrontation between the two players from affecting other ongoing entrance tests, this round has been changed from 21 points to 11 points. Don't underestimate the influence of the two, just look at the other players and teaching assistants who are looking over here to see how eye-catching this match is. On the sidelines, Naoto Makita handed the ball to Akihito Shiryuki. At the same time, he personally sounded the whistle for the start of the game. On the field, Hongcun Xiuzao looked at Yuqiu Ren with a burning gaze and said, "I hope you can ban hitting more and not be like that useless person just now." Yuqiu said, "This guy it cannot be viewed as the later Hongcun captain. Compared to Ashikaga, his personality is less pure and vicious, but his aggressiveness is much more fierce. No wonder later on, the Emperor Guang team member he paid the most attention to would be Ashikaga Xiangu. It's completely like seeing my former self, right?" Yuqiu grasped the ball with both hands, and his new attributes made him feel zintiandi. At that moment, he could clearly feel that he was elastic all over. Looking towards the direction of the basket, a pinch between the fingers. The basketball rotated twice in the palm on the other side. "I am the same, the pleasure of confrontation that I hope for. I hope your defense is not like the Second Army just now, like paper paste." Hongcun Construction. Upon hearing Yuqiu's words, Hongcun Xiuzao's expression froze for a moment. Then, his iceberg-like face revealed the first smile of melting snow today. "Paper paste, it's a very accurate description, this guy." Shiryu and Xiuren started in a threatening posture. Through his previous observation of Hongcun's construction, he knew that the defense of Hongcun's construction would definitely be strong, which he had anticipated in his heart. However, facing the defense built by Hongcun, he has two new attributes and abilities that come together, and he is still very confident about them. The most crucial. Although the system did not jump out of the task prompt as just now. But the high probability is that the beginner benefits have already been fully received. No matter what you think, if you can defeat a key storyline character like Hongcun Xiuzao, you should reveal some gold coins or something. And it has to be admitted that acquiring new attributes and abilities, and then engaging in a showdown on the field, at this time of time, people gradually gain some advantages. I am completely immersed in the world of games, or rather basketball. In this moment, he is known for his rainy autumn days. The showdown is with the future Rainbow Captain, Rainbow Village Construction. Bang! 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 Even when the rain falls, autumn people can hear it clearly, from the heart, excited to beat. On the field, the defense built by Hongcun is exactly the same as the opening of the Second Army's Izumi Hiroshi, both of which are more than a step away. If it were Izumi Hiroshi, Yuqiu would definitely punish him with a shot without mercy. However, the person in front of me was replaced by Hongcun Construction. Even with such a level of defensive distance, the defensive pressure on Yuqiu's shooting is completely different from that of Iziriho. Because the defensive pace built by Hongcun is not as fast as usual. After all, this is someone who can intentionally put people into the penalty area. Then easily catch up with the guy with the cover. But in other words, with such a safe distance, Hongcun Xiu can simultaneously balance Yuqiu's shooting and breakthrough, which shows that he has become more serious compared to the previous confrontation. After watching the competition content of Hongcun Construction, Yuqiu did not consider using standing soft 3 points or more advanced moon watching step to take over standing soft 3 points. Because it is obvious that at the speed and ceiling height of the construction in Hongcun, this scene fixed mode is likely to be disturbed even if it is not sealed. Immediately a probing step in the 3-threat posture, Yuqiu's person broke through directly. The first goal of the game, in order to break through the defense of Hongcun, is a move disguised as a moon-gazing retreat, called a sudden retreat. Wu Daiyu and moon-watching retreat. Pretend to break forward and suddenly perform moon-watching retreat by crossing steps, Nobunaga Kiyoda, retreat instantly. Step back to accumulate power, instantly unleash super strong speed, and break through the opponent again. Chapter 010. Rainbow Village Construction surprisingly observed with calm. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The breakthrough action initiated by Xiuzhao's 3 threats was unexpectedly blocked by Hongcun, who had reserved defensive space. However, the dribbling movements of Xiuzhao's players become faster and faster after pulling horizontally. Accompanied by the transformation in front of the body, the basketball fell continuously, hitting the ground with a series of crackling sounds, causing the hearts of the players watching the game to tense up. And Hongcun Xiuzao's expression remained unchanged, calmly observing. The initial 3 threats started the location of the intrusion. The retreat step that Xiuzhao is good at distance. Hongcun Construction quickly made a judgment, and Yuqiu people need to take action next. Sure enough. Cross-step breakthrough. Hongcun Construction. This club is a feint attack, and the next move is a sudden acceleration with a wide range of retreat steps. Shu. As Xiuzhao's figure rapidly retreated beyond the 3-point line, the construction of Hongcun also followed closely. Compared to the opponent of Yuqiu before, the speed of defense built by Hongcun, combined with the subtle prediction, should not be too obvious compared to the Second Army's Izidihao. Watching the moon retreat, being followed. Off the field, whether new players or second team members, everyone stared closely at the defense built by Hongcun and was secretly surprised by it. Xiuzhao's signature move was immediately followed. Previously, Izidihao couldn't solve the whole game. There's no way, that's the difference in speed and hard power, but the speed of Hongcun's construction is almost the same as Xiuzhao's retreat speed. Did you make a mistake? Can first-grade students be so strong? In the crowd, Deep Valley Zero frowned slightly and whispered to himself, no, this ball cannot be solved with 3-pointers. I'm afraid under the defense built by Hongcun, we won't be able to do anything in the future. The speed and response of Hongcun's construction, as well as the previously demonstrated ceiling height, will block the 3-point shot that Xiuzhao is best at. However, this is also a limitation of pure shooters. Even though Xiuzhao is not a simple shooter with the ability to independently control and open up space, the essence of using projection as a scoring method has not changed. At this moment, looking at the construction of Hongcun in front of him, Xiuzhao couldn't help but show a smile on his face. After retreating to the moon, accumulated retreat instantly. The accumulation of strength of the backward step just now suddenly broke out at a super speed and made another breakthrough. The breakthrough speed is almost the same as the speed of the moon step. Hongcun Construction. Here we go. He knew it. This person won't be as foolish as the idiot just now. Shu. Amidst the breaking wind in my ears. In the view of the construction in Hongcun, Xiuzhao suddenly bent his knees and accelerated his forward thrust at the end of the retreat, and his figure suddenly disappeared from his sight. No. Not completely losing sight. At least in the peripheral view of Guang, the figure of the rain-autumn man can still be captured. On the sidelines, Platinum Genjua saw a more vivid expression from Hongcun Construction. In this moment, he couldn't help but sigh. Luck is just so wonderful. The appearance of rain and autumn people is really an excellent fate. On the field, Xiuzhao's sudden retreat gave him the lead in his position, but Xiuzhao frowned dissatisfied. Because the first surprise use of this move did not create the leading advantage he had imagined. The defense built by Hongcun just now was almost as predictive as him, and even completed the launch ahead of schedule. In an instant. The speed of the two is equally astonishing. First Army coach Naoto Makita couldn't help but widen his eyes. His serious and tense face showed shock for the attack and defense in this moment. And the friend of Xiuzao, the notorious Shinji, has once again refreshed his understanding of Xiuzio's strength in his heart today. In the past, although Xiuzao was not weak in strength, he definitely did not exaggerate to this extent. With a step back as the core, it has an extraordinary speed. And that exquisite three-point shot. Black name Shinji. Are you telling me it's a burst of adolescence? Are you joking? Chiu Ren, this guy absolutely, I did some special training during the vacation without telling myself, right? But then again, what kind of special training can be so strong that it can make people feel like they have undergone a transformation on the other side? Deep Valley Zero's face was shocked. I thought that during the rainy autumn, people would be sealed off by the construction of Hongcun. But he didn't expect that Xiuzao, after playing a game against the second runner, would still hide his strength. At least this move, like his iconic retreat step, was as fast and terrifying as his retreat breakthrough, and he didn't use it even once just now. And, so fast. It is clear that extreme speed can reach this level. But apart from the dribbling movement centered around, step down, Xiuzao never showed such speed at all. Is it a deliberate layout? Or rather does the withdrawal technique of Yuqiu people have a unique acceleration technique? However, at this point, Deep Valley Zero had no time to think carefully. Because of the Yuqiu people on the field, even if they achieved this level, they were still built by Hongcun to keep up with the defense, if he had just read correctly. The defense built by Hongcun was a successful prediction, even though Xiuzao was using this move for the first time. Hongcun Construction. Essentially. Is it actually a style of calm observation and judgment?